Welcome back to Java Internals Crashcasts. I'm Sheila, and with me as always is Victor. Today we're continuing our journey through Java version comparisons, focusing on the differences between Java 9 and Java 11. Victor, are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely, Sheila. I'm excited to explore the changes that happened between these two significant versions of Java.
Great. Before we start, listeners, make sure you're familiar with the basics of Java 8 and 9, as we'll be building on that knowledge. Now let's kick things off with a quiz question. What major feature introduced in Java 9 was significantly enhanced in Java 11, making it easier for developers to create and maintain large-scale applications?
Ooh, that's an intriguing question, Sheila. It touches on a core aspect of Java's evolution. I think our listeners will need to consider the architectural changes introduced in Java 9 and how they might have been refined in Java 11. But let's not give away too much. I'm curious to see what our audience comes up with.
Excellent point, Victor. While our listeners ponder that question, let's start with a brief overview of the transition from Java 9 to 11. Can you give us a high-level perspective on what changed?
Certainly. Java 11, released in September 2018, was the first long-term support (LTS) release after Java 8. This means it's a version that will receive extended support and updates. It built upon the foundation laid by Java 9 and 10, introducing several new features and improvements. The most notable changes include enhancements to the module system, standardization of the HTTP client, local variable syntax for lambda parameters, and various API updates.
That's a great summary, Victor. Let's start with the module system. I understand it was introduced in Java 9, but how was it improved in Java 11?
Good question, Sheila. The module system, introduced in Java 9 as Project Jigsaw, was indeed refined in Java 11. Think of it like building with Lego blocks. In Java 9, we got a new set of blocks to build with, but in Java 11, we received some specialized pieces that made our constructions more stable and easier to assemble.
That's an interesting analogy. Can you elaborate on some specific improvements?
Sure thing. Java 11 introduced the concept of nest-based access control. Essentially, this allows classes that are closely related, like inner and outer classes, to access each other's private members more easily. It's like the Lego blocks now snap together more seamlessly, making the whole system more efficient and easier to use.
I see. That sounds like it would make developers' lives easier. Now, let's move on to another significant change. I've heard that Java 11 standardized the HTTP client. What does this mean for developers?
Great point, Sheila. The HTTP client, which was introduced as an experimental feature in Java 9, became a standard feature in Java 11. This is a big deal because it provides a modern, easy-to-use way for making HTTP requests. It supports the latest HTTP protocols and even WebSocket, which is great for real-time communication.
That sounds impressive. Can you give us a real-world example of how this might be used?
Certainly. Imagine you're building a weather app that needs to fetch data from an online service. With the new HTTP client, you can easily send requests to get weather updates, handle the responses, and even set up a connection for real-time updates when the weather changes. It's much more powerful and flexible than the old methods Java provided.
I can see how that would be a game changer for many developers. Now, I've also heard something about var being introduced. What's that all about?
The var keyword. This is actually a feature that was introduced in Java 10, but it was extended in Java 11 to work with lambda parameters. Essentially, var allows Java to figure out the type of a variable based on what you're assigning to it, so you don't always have to specify the type explicitly.
That sounds convenient, but are there any pitfalls developers should be aware of when using var?
Good question, Sheila. While var can make code shorter and cleaner, it can also make it harder to understand if overused. It's best used when it's clear what type of data you're working with. If it's not obvious, it's usually better to specify the type explicitly to make your code easier to read and maintain.
Thank you for that clarification, Victor. Now, as we're nearing the end of our episode, let's circle back to our quiz question. Can you reveal the answer?
Of course. The major feature introduced in Java 9 and significantly enhanced in Java 11 that we were asking about is the module system. As we discussed earlier, Java 11 brought improvements like nest-based access control, making it easier for developers to create and maintain large-scale modular applications.
Excellent! To wrap up, let's quickly recap what we've covered today. We talked about the refinements to the module system, the standardization of the HTTP client, improvements to the var keyword, and touched on several other updates. Java 11 clearly brought some significant changes that improved both performance and developer productivity.
Absolutely, Sheila. It's fascinating to see how Java continues to evolve to meet the needs of modern development.
Indeed it is, Victor. In our next episode, we'll be comparing Java 11 and Java 12, so be sure to tune in for that. And listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Java Internals Crashcasts and leave us a rating. Your support helps us continue creating this content. Until next time, happy coding!